She left her group home at exactly 7:45 p.m. and vanished into the night. 2 weeks later, hikers found her body off a lonely Arizona highway, wrapped in black trash bags. No suspects, no justice. She was just 14. Her name was Emily Pike, and what happened to her still haunts those who know. This is a story of a missing girl, a broken system, and a truth no one wants to face. Mesa, Arizona. The air was dry and the skies streaked with deep winter hues as the sun dipped behind the desert hills. At 7:45 p.m., security footage at a small group home captured a 14-year-old girl named Emily Pike slipping quietly out the front door. She wore a worn gray hoodie, faded jeans, and a backpack too big for her slight frame. She didn't look back. It was just another night to the world. But to Emily, it was everything. Emily was a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe. She had been placed in foster care after years of instability at home. Living in the Mesa group home wasn't easy. Crowded halls, overworked staff, and a rotating door of troubled teens. Emily didn't speak much. She was artistic, kept a sketchbook tucked into her backpack, and often stared out the window like she was watching something no one else could see. That night, she told no one where she was going. Maybe she was just walking to clear her mind. Maybe she was running from something. Or worse, heading toward someone. But no one noticed she was gone. Not until it was far too late. Hours passed. Then days. The group home staff initially assumed she was just acting out. After all, teens run away. But Emily wasn't like the others. She was quiet, gentle. Something about this disappearance felt wrong. Her mother called. "Have you heard from Emily?" No one had. Police were eventually contacted, but with no signs of foul play. The case wasn't treated as urgent. No Amber Alert was issued. No helicopters. No search dogs. Just silence. And yet, security footage showed her leaving. Alone. Intentionally. But with fear in her eyes. What did she know? What was she running from? Or to? The clock froze at 7:45 p.m. That was the last time anyone saw Emily Pike alive. The next morning came, and Emily's bed was still untouched, her thin blanket folded exactly as she left it. The staff at the group home barely noticed. They assumed, like they often did, that she was out, angry, or just trying to get attention. But as hours turned into days, concern finally took root. A report was filed. But even then, there was no urgency, no press conference, no community-wide alert. Emily Pike had vanished, and the system barely blinked. This wasn't just negligence. It was a pattern. Emily was part of a community often overlooked. Native American girls from broken homes, many of whom slipped through the cracks of foster care, education, and law enforcement. In Arizona alone, Indigenous girls go missing at alarmingly high rates, and few of their stories make headlines. Emily's case was no different. Her mother, Leona Pike, called the police 3 days after her daughter disappeared. "She would have called me. She always calls me," she told the press later, her voice shaking. But law enforcement told her the same thing they told every worried parent in these situations. Maybe she ran away. Teenagers do that. Leona begged them to look closer, but the days kept passing. The media never caught on. Her name wasn't trending. There were no vigils. No "Have you seen this girl?" posters on every lamppost. For weeks, Emily was just another missing file in a drawer labeled "At-Risk Youth." Back at the group home, Emily's absence cast a strange silence. Some of the other girls whispered rumors. She had a boyfriend. One said she was going to meet someone. Another claimed, but no one really knew, not even her closest friend, Talia, who shared the room with her. She packed nothing. Talia said, not even a charger. She didn't even take her sketchbook. That's how I know something's wrong. And she was right. Emily's sketchbook, a thick spiral-bound pad filled with colored pencil art, sat undisturbed in a drawer beneath her bunk. The last page was only half finished. It showed a girl standing at the edge of a cliff, birds flying above her, and darkness behind her. The system called her a runaway, but her sketchbook said something else. She was scared. Someone knew something. Someone had to, but no one came forward. And somewhere, in the deserts of Arizona, Emily's story was unraveling, silently. February 14th, Valentine's Day. While most of America exchanged chocolates and roses, two hikers walking along the stretch of Arizona's U.S. Route 60 discovered something they would never forget. Several torn black trash bags strewn across a rocky embankment. At first, they thought it was illegal dumping, until they smelled something foul. Inside one of the bags were clothes and long black hair. One of the hikers, a former nurse, stepped closer and stopped cold. Her face turned pale. "There's a body in here," she whispered. Police arrived within the hour. The scene was grim, partially decomposed remains, signs of trauma, and a desecrated landscape that had swallowed a child for 2 long weeks. Officers sealed off the area. Reporters began circling, and the crime scene tape fluttered in the desert wind. It took just 1 day to confirm what everyone feared. The remains were those of 14-year-old Emily Pike. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the face and skull. Her injuries suggested she had suffered before death. Her arms had defensive wounds. This wasn't abandonment. This was murder. Word spread quickly through her reservation. Candlelight vigils were organized. Tribal leaders spoke out publicly, demanding justice and federal intervention. One elder said, "We've buried too many of our daughters. This can't keep happening." But for law enforcement, the case was already cold. There were no signs of who dropped her body there, no surveillance near the dump site, and no leads from the group home. Staff had no idea where Emily went that night. The other girls remembered nothing useful. Whoever harmed her knew how to disappear, and fast. The only physical clue? A small silver bracelet found near her body. It wasn't hers. The design didn't match anything from her belongings. It had initials engraved on the inside, just 2 letters. KB, that was it. No phone, no bag, no sketchbook. The only thing left was a name and silence. The discovery shook her family, but not the nation. There were no nationwide campaigns, no Netflix specials, no Dateline episodes. She was indigenous. She was in foster care. She was forgotten until her body was found in a trash bag. Valentine's Day will never be the same for her mother. "Leona, she was my heart," she said in a trembling voice at the vigil, and someone threw her away like garbage. The crowd stood in silence, dozens holding candles under the stars. Some cried, others stood in quiet rage, and someone in that crowd may have known what happened. 1 year later, Emily's room sits untouched. Her sketchbooks, her hoodie, her worn-out sneakers by the door, all still there, waiting. But the house is quieter now. Her younger brother stopped asking questions. Her mother, Leona, stopped sleeping, and the police stopped calling. No one has been arrested. There were no fingerprints, no DNA matches, no confirmed witnesses. The silver bracelet marked KB? Untraceable. It didn't match any registered jewelry databases. The group home's camera system? Broken that night. It's as if the world wanted Emily to disappear. The FBI stepped in for a few months, citing the MMIW crisis, missing and murdered Indigenous women. But after a few press releases and half-hearted search efforts, the spotlight faded. Her case sits cold, one of thousands, across Native communities in the U.S. The numbers are staggering. Indigenous women and girls are murdered at rates 10 times higher than the national average, but rarely get national attention. Many disappear, like Emily, while in foster care or state custody, systems meant to protect them. Leona has since become an activist. She speaks at schools and tribal meetings. She holds her daughter's photo up with trembling hands and tells her story over and over. Emily loved to draw people smiling. She says, And in the end, nobody smiled for her. She tried to get the case reopened. She hired a private investigator. She posted online, begged for tips, even offered a reward. But no one talks. In some parts of town, silence is safety. There were rumors, whispers about a man who used to hang around the group home parking lot, a truck spotted that night, a social worker who got transferred suddenly. But no evidence, just shadows. On the anniversary of Emily's disappearance, dozens gathered again, this time on the side of U.S. Route 60 where she was found. They lit candles and tied red ribbons to the bushes and fence posts, a symbol of the MMIW movement. And then someone whispered she deserved better. A teenager placed one of Emily's drawings, a portrait of mother and child, against a stone and weighted it with a flower. The wind picked up. The candles flickered. And even in the silence, her name stayed alive. Emily Pike, 14 years old, artist, dreamer, daughter, still missing in justice.